You replied and told me that the media looked great and that you would be pleased to meet us. So we thought we are here in Geneva, and I really want to thank you very much for being here with us and for taking this time to share your story with us. Peder, you are world number one. You have been for quite a long time now. We are Olympic gold medalists and have been, and you are one of the most admired and respected rider in the world. The purpose of this podcast is to dig into your life and journey. We want to understand how you became such a champion. When we watch you riding, when we consider your journey so far, if we think about the way you handled your championships in Tokyo, we can only wonder what got you to become such horseman. We have talked with many riders and all of them are so admiring of you. So can you, as a first question, take some time to tell us your story from the beginning and maybe explain a little bit the steps that led you to who and where you are today?
There was some
Long
beginning.
story.
Some beginning. Well, thank you for all the kind words. And well, you asked me a very big and a question that requires a big answer. First of all, I think I have a passion for horses. I have a passion for animals. Actually, I find it very interesting with all animals how they behave. And since I was a kid, I always liked animals. When we have animals on the farm, I always like to spend time with them, like with the dogs and the sheep and chicken or whatever. I find it very interesting, and I still do. And I think that's probably the main thing. And then I think that my interests have, how do I say, I've been inspired to develop things at different times in life. Like first I started to ride, it was just because I liked the animals, I found it interesting, and then after a while I wanted to and then I started to riding and it went quite good, but after a while I realized I was just riding on feeling, and I didn't know so much. So then when I realized that, it went quite much worse for a while, because I started to think why I was doing it and try to learn things, and then you lose your feeling a little bit, but this is a necessary step to develop. You have to learn dressage riding and so on, and then obviously you have to be very lucky to have the right people around you. I was lucky, I grew up in a place where a lot of good horsemen. My father was a vet, and I was going in the same school as two other boys that were riding, and they had parents that were really good. One rode the Olympic Games in 3-day eventing, so I trained a lot for him, and one thing led to another.
Peder, I'd like to ask you if you can describe your personality. We have watched perhaps all the interviews of you that are available online, and you look very discreet, maybe a bit shy. What do you think are your main traits of character inside and outside the ring?
Oh, this is difficult questions you're asking me.
We like difficult questions.
It's very difficult to describe yourself, obviously. I think I'm a quite calm person. I'm not so competitive like my wife, for example. She's very competitive. Like if we would play a social game, she loses, she gets very angry, and obviously I couldn't care less. Also when I come to a show, it's not like I'm really gonna win, but it's but of course when it doesn't go my way, I get annoyed. It's more like horses is my life, and I'm training them, and the competition is sort of a proof if you do it good or bad. And if I don't do well in competitions, week after week, it starts to really annoy me, and then I have to make some changes in the way of training or in the way we managing the horses or something I'm doing maybe. So that is probably something that have developed me, that if I wasn't annoyed when it was going bad, I wouldn't develop. So in that sense, I suppose there's also some kind of competitiveness. And for the rest, well, should I say, I think I'm a family man. The family means a lot to me, and I think when you have high ambitions in a lifestyle as horses, it takes a lot of time. So you have to make your choices in life, and my choices have been the horses and my family. These are the most important things for me, and then I have to say no to a lot of other things.
Do you think that you could have pursued another career? Because I think that you are an artist, aside from your career. Do you think that horses should always have been your career, or have you at some point in your life considered anything else?
Not really. I'm a graphic designer by education, and I've been working with that, and also as a painter. And for a long time I did both, like 50% horses and 50% my other career. And it was just until maybe, let's say, 10 years ago, I decided to put like a lot of more effort into the horses. So I don't know. I might pick it up later on also. Something I enjoy to do.
What, Peder, is your oldest memory with horses?
My oldest memory, I think, would be riding my Shetland pony together with my father. He was holding me in the lunch line, and I was riding beside him. He was probably trotting, and I was cantering as fast as I could to keep up the pace. And I was bouncing a lot, and then I fell off, and then he had to stop, and I had to climb up again, and then we went on like that. That would probably be my first memory.
You did compete as high-level eventing rider before switching to showjumping. Can you tell us about this discipline has shaped your riding and most probably your career?
That's correct. Yeah, I started as a showjumping rider, and eventing rider. It was mainly because one of my school teammates in school, my classmates, his father was a event rider, Olympic event rider. So he trained me, and then it was natural to start with eventing. And to be honest, I think it's a very good start for any horse person. Regardless of discipline, I think eventing is a very good start, because you have to do a bit of dressage, a bit of show jumping. You have to learn to get your horse fit and riding this cross country. So I'm very happy I could get that start. It's also nice to have done 2 careers, I think. I wouldn't like to have had it any other way.
And you notably trained with Mark Todd, who is an immense rider, talented rider. Can you tell us a little bit about how you made the most of your time and experience with Mark, and also what kind of tools did you take to bring into your show jumping career?
That's correct. I was with Mark for a few years, and he's an amazing rider and horseman, and a very nice person also. I must say I learned a lot from the years I was with Mark, riding-wise, but also management of horses. He has a way of making it very uncomplicated, but still very, very good. And I think that's one key to success, not to make things too complicated. And he had a very good management. I think that his horses, turned them out in the field together and make sure they were healthy and doing well, and always treated the horses really well. And I'm very grateful to have spent the years with him and learned from him.
Is this where you took inspiration to build the system you have now?
Yes, I think probably if I should mention one other person that meant a lot to me in my career, I would for sure name Mark Todd. I picked up a lot of things there.
can you tell us how those two disciplines work in your country, in Sweden? Are there any converging paths between the two of them? More generally, do you think that showjumping should at some point take inspiration from the inventing world and vice versa?
I think for sure you should always keep an open mind, and I think show jumping is getting quicker and quicker. So I think actually in show jumping I think we should look at for sure eventing, but also towards racing, because now, for example, at the Olympic Games in the jump off we go at high speed. It's very small margins. So I think in the future, like things like they have already had for a long time in racing, like lightweight equipment and these things, have the horses fit. And it's going to come also more and more into show jumping. But it's a good question. I think it's very important to be open-minded and try to learn from the best in each discipline.
When we consider the best riders in the world, we might kind of classify them into two categories. There are some riders that look like they enter the arena to win, like every single class. You know, when they get into the arena, they just want to win, and we can take as an example Ken Farrington, I think. And on the other side, some riders seems to be more driving and leading one horse towards a specific goal, and like a single class suddenly becomes just one step towards the goal. And I like to think that you belong to this last category, and I think that Pedro Venice, we just talked with him, earlier, thinks the same. So do you agree with us?
No, I just try to win every class, but I don't. And then when I win, occasionally everybody thinks I made a good plan to win in that class.
Like in Tokyo?
Yes.
Okay.
No, but obviously you have to choose your classes a bit. But I think Ken Farrington also does that. But it's an interesting thing, and I think that willingness to win is very important actually, and if you can do it in a way that doesn't take too much out of your horses, I wouldn't mind winning every time, every competition.
That's funny you said that it's something that happens just because you win, but it's not always part of the plan, because when we look at the way you jumped in Tokyo, it looked like you had planned everything to bring to bring this medal to you. It was as if everything was just planned and detailed, and you had a plan to this goal. Was it the case, or?
Yeah, in this case it was actually in this case, because Olin, he was out for a long time.
Yeah.
And I tried to get him back, and I knew we had Olympic Games, and I had a few horses on the line that could be possible, and Olin was one of them. So with him, it was totally like that. The only goal for him last year was the Olympic Games. So all the shows coming up was only preparation for the Olympic Games, and that was the plan. But with horses you can have plans, but very rarely they follow out just the way you planned. But this time, luckily, everything followed the plan, and like every show coming up towards the Olympics, he was like, in the beginning of the year, he was not in shape at all. He was overweight and not fit, but then slowly he got better and better. And even at the last show, I felt he was not really there, but I hoped, in a few weeks he would be. And when he stepped off the plane in Tokyo, he just reached the peak. So I was, I had a plan, but in a way I was lucky that everything worked out my way. And then it was just unbelievable the way he could perform there at his age one more time. I was so, amazed by that little horse. He's a real star.
That was amazing.
I was also really, really surprised actually that he could do it. I couldn't have expected that he would go that well again.
About Tokyo, we all know the eventual result. You won the silver individual medal and the gold team medal. All riders in the world agree on one point. Those medals were so well deserved, and that might be the best news about this Olympics. But if we look at what happened for the other riders, other nations, and throughout the world competition, sport was tough. And somehow we can say that at some point some horses have suffered. Can you tell us about the way you felt and experienced this competition? And well, this will bring us to talk about the new format that was implemented in Tokyo.
Well, it was a new format for us all, and we knew this was going to be in Tokyo, and we were a bit suspicious when it came out, but we also realized that if we're going to be able to compete at these Olympic Games successfully, we as a team, we have to accept the way it is, and instead of putting energy into complaining about this system, we have to try to be as well prepared as possible. Meaning we have to mentally be prepared for the changes it will be, and also we have to really know all the rules, so we're not going there and we're not really know what's going to happen and so on. That we have to be really well prepared, and I think our chef de keep and we as a whole team, we went there with a very positive energy that we were going to try to win a gold medal. So that was a really good feeling to come in a positive mood to the Olympics.
We can only remind the future listeners of this podcast that you went to Tokyo as an already multi-medalist rider. You participated to your first Olympic Games at age 20 in eventing. You then became a real pillar of the Swedish team, I think, and you won the silver medals in Athens 2004. You were also finishing fourth in individual that time. 2016, Rio, you climbed the second step of the individual podium with another silver medal around the neck. You were back then the only rider to end the championships without a single hold down, if I'm correct. And this year, 2021 Tokyo, you earned two so well-deserved medals, as we just said. And I want to know, after so many victories, medals, and amazing performances, what can you dream of? What can a rider possibly dream of? Like, where do you find the motivation to get up every morning and keep working so hard?
Yes, it's. I had this year has been fantastic because the last couple of like a gold medal, that's something as a rider or any sportsman, that's the thing you can normally only dream of, because it's you've got one shot every fourth year, and to expect that you will, especially when you're in a combination with a horse, it's actually gold medal is something you cannot really expect to achieve. I had 3 silver, so when I got this gold, I was really grateful that it actually happened, that I got the gold medal, because there's so many amazing riders out there in the world that are super good that will never get a gold medal. So that's it. You know, for sure you have to fight for it, but you also have to be really lucky to get it. So that was one goal I was really happy to have achieved, and the other goal was that I had for the last couple of years was to try to become number 1 on the world ranking. That's a different kind of goal, because that's something you can work on every weekend. So it's a different kind of goal. This is a goal you can actually shape much more yourself. It doesn't got anything to do with luck. It's only about building up a good string of horses, building up a good system that you can be competitive for a long time with the horses and so on. And to have achieved these 2 things in 1 year means a lot to me, you know. And I don't really know how I'm going to move away from this. You know, at the moment I'm just a little bit, how do you say, exhaling a little bit and relaxing,
releasing some pressure.
Just enjoying that I actually reached these goals, and I'm 50 years old now, and I don't know what my next step is. For sure, it's not going to be like a very aggressive thing to move forward. You know, it's going to be things in life that I enjoy. I enjoy horses and riding and working with animals, so for sure I'm going to continue with that. But in what way? is yet to see.
And we're here at Geneva. You were riding the top 10 final yesterday. Do you feel like you're riding with less pressure than before you reached those goals, or is there no difference and you still have the same pressure and you still want to keep being world number one and maybe to keep pursuing another gold medal in Paris, you know? It's a never-ending process.
No, it's actually a lot less pressure.
Okay.
A lot less, because like when you have the goal, you want to be number one on the ranking list, then you have pressure every week. And if you don't perform, you know you're further away from the goal. And I told myself and I told my team and my family, like, once I reach that goal, I'm not going to try to fight to stay there. You know, once I cross that finish line, I'm done. You know, I don't mind if I stay because I like the horses, like to ride, but I'm not gonna do whatever I can just to stay on that position, because that's a goal I reached, and that's that. So in that sense, I'm much more relaxed actually. That's probably why it didn't go so good.
It was good. You did not won, but it was good.
Peder, there is another thing quite uncommon in your career, and you just talked to us just before. You went both to Rio and Tokyo with the same horse, All In. We know how difficult it is to get trained, preserve, and bring horse to one single major competition. But managing to keep this horse at its best level for so long, so many years, through so many competitions, that is something both unusual and remarkable. We would like to ask you, how did you manage All In over years, and more generally, can you explain the way you manage your horses' careers?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good and important question you're asking, because that is also, I think, why I managed, because I had for a few years I had a goal to become number one on the ranking list, but I never managed, because I went up and then I was close, and then my horses were injured and I had to take a break, and some points all the horses were injured actually, at some points a few and so on, but the last 1.5 years, 2 years, I was lucky to have all my horses going, no lame horses. And that makes a big difference for management from all the horses, because if you have enough horses and they're all sound, you can give them the breaks they need, and you can make a good plan, and you can manage in a successful way. And to be honest, I think there's a few things I have done that I've changed. It's very difficult to say exactly what is what with horses, why, and so on, because there's so many factors. But the only things I have changed, because I have the same food, I have the same tracks, I have the same management at home. The things I've changed is to ride without shoes on the horses, which means that they also can go together in the field. And I do believe that that's the only thing I have changed, and after I changed that, the horses are much more comfortable and sounder, and I don't know what else it should be actually.
That actually was one of the questions we wanted to ask, and we planned to ask you, and maybe I'll just jump into this topic. So riding barefoot horses has become more popular, and I wanted to know, as a first question, was it part of the process of you trying to get closer to your horse's natural state, or was it an attempt to be more competitive? You know, at first, the very first decision of taking off, the shoes of your horses.
Yeah, it's I'm 50 now. I've been riding my whole life, and up until a couple of years ago, I would never have imagined that, taking off the shoe on any horse, because this is just not what you do, and this is not the way I've grown up. But then it started with, I had one horse, a very good horse called Hansson, that was lame for a long time. He had a problem in the hind leg, and we treated him and did all the things with the vet and everything we could do, but we couldn't get him back. And then I thought I'm going to take the shoes off and turn him out in the field, because in the end I said I don't want to keep on treating him and so on. Either I'm going to retire him or give him a long break and so on. So we took off the shoes, and then when I took them off, I just saw he was moving more comfortable. I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. I don't know why I tried, but I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. And I had very good result. So at some point I only had him, but then he was going really good, and I fixed his feet myself, and I learned quite a bit, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to try with another horse that was not so sound. And I got very good result with that horse. And then I was thinking, well, maybe if I get a very good result with horses that are not comfortable, maybe why don't try with take them off before they get uncomfortable. So I started to take off from a few horses, but this is very new for me. I learned a bit from Julian Epayard, which was very friendly and helped me a lot, and he's a great horseman, and I learned a lot from him. But I think also before in my horse life, the horse's hoof has never been it's always been a bit kidnapped by the farrier. I never worked with looking after the feet myself, but now when I can fix the horse's feet myself, I feel I get closer to the horses, and I can help them in a much more in a way with my feeling. You can shape the feet in a way you feel the horse is comfortable, because when you ride and you jump a horse, you can feel how it moves, you can feel how it lands, and you feel if it's comfortable or not. I think as a farrier, they're very good on shoeing, but they don't ride the horses, and they don't jump them, and they don't, So when I can do my horse's feet myself, I can also feel the result straight away. I can feel, if this good or bad, or what do I need to do, and then in that way you can learn a lot to develop. It's good for the management of the horses. That's my opinion.
Actually, the partner of our episode is one of your partners, Scoot Boot. So Peder, can you tell us about this product, just some words, and how they happen to help you in your daily work?
Yes, because like when you take off the shoes from the horses, it's good for the soundness, and like on the fiber sand, you don't really need any shoes because it's very soft. And I must say the horses are very comfortable jumping on that. But if you want to go out hiking, or you want to maybe turn the horses out in a field with some stones and so on, then you need to have protection from the hoof. And then I use scoot boots to protect the hoof in between the shoulders.
Here some words your brother Jens expressed about you in an article in the French magazine Grand Prix, so I'll quote. Peder is a true horseman, but before or never is he conservative, and that is quite rare in this industry. He does use traditional techniques and knowledge, but he always keeps moving forward. He has this capacity of being willing to try new stuff. People often consider new things in a negative way because they are afraid of trying, but Peder, instead of talking about it, he will try. He ain't scared, and that is one of his best qualities. What do you think about that?
That's 100% right. I love to try new things.
And is this how you thought about taking off, the shoes and everything?
Sure. You have to try, because there's so many people I've spoken to, and they said, no, I don't like the barefoot. I don't like it. And then you ask them if they tried. No, they haven't tried it, but they don't like it. And that's, in my opinion, you can't say you like something or you don't like it if you never tried it. Mm-hmm. I'm all for trying things. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back. But in my opinion, that's the way to move forward. Try things. If it works, you keep it. If it doesn't work, you go back. And that's, in my opinion, that's the way forward. But, I think it's what kind of personality you are.
We were often told in our episodes that the Olympics are competition like no other. That is a championship is so spectacular, so competitive and quite unique. Do you agree with this, and can you share your thoughts about that?
Well,